Speak in a way that you can be understood so you can communicate effectively and influence others without fighting, break relationships, and lose unique opportunity. First and foremost, lend me your ears and think about it. What is real communication? Think about it. Think about sales, negotiation, intimacy relationship, friends, family, colleagues, boss, employees, socialization. Whatever you think, it's all about communication. Let me go a bit deeper on that. The communication that you have with yourself defines your happiness, tranquility, self-esteem, self-confidence, all this stuff. The communication that you have with others defines your money, your relationships, your lifestyle. A few years back, I did a seminar with an amazing speaker who said us, if your money are not as good as you want, then you have to revise your relationship with others. And after that seminar, one more seminar that said, if your relationship with others are not as good as you want, then you have to revise the relationship with yourself. And let me your ear. Milton Erickson said, actually Milton Erickson was one of the best psychiatrists and hypnotherapists. Best. There is no problem. No. It's all about communication between conscious and unconscious mind. So, if that is true, then if you don't learn to communicate effectively, first with yourself and second with the others, then you will experience some troubles. Maybe you experience these troubles right now. Let me share some with you. Fear to talk free. Why? If I think that every time that I communicate, no one understands me, no one respects me, then for my brain, it's futile to try to communicate. This is something that I was facing a few years. I thought that it's futile to speak to others. No one understands me, no one respects me. The second trouble is bad relationships. Because if I don't communicate freely, if I don't express my thoughts, myself, then I can't connect emotionally with others. Because most of people out there communicating very at the surface. But if you want to create really great relationships, either with your partner, with your children, or with your clients, whatever they are, you have to connect emotionally with others. In order to do that, you have to learn to communicate and be very good on that. And the third trouble is bad finances. Because if you think about it, marketing is communication. Sales is communication. Negotiation is communication. Where the money come from? Communication, right? Yes. So, you got it. Communication is everything. And let me give you an example. Let's say that you are in front of the treasury and you want to open the door. And you try. If you don't keep the right key, do you think that you will open this door? No, regardless how much you try. Remember that every brain has a key. Every human being communicates in a way that understands. Do you hear that? We don't communicate as a human being in a way that the others can understand a message. We communicate in a way that we understand the message. But our key is different than others. What does that mean? It's like to speak English to a Chinese person. It's impossible to be understood, isn't it? No, it's possible. So remember now that communication is just the fourth step in the formula that you have to go through in order to increase your emotional intelligence and become a powerful leader in order to thrive your life and live in full excellence. Having get that you need the right key to open the door to pick your diamonds from this life. You have to follow 3 steps. Number one, you have to learn how the brain works. Why? It's impossible to hack a system if you don't know how it works. It's true, isn't it? Of course it is. The next step is to communicate with yourself, is to learn to communicate with yourself. Having get that you need the right key to open the door, to pick your diamond from your life, you have to go through 3 steps. The first one is to learn how the brain works. Why? If you want to hack a system, you have to know how it works. If you want to be a communicator expert, you have to learn how a brain gets, codes, decodes, and deliver a message. That's the foundation. The second step is to implement all these steps to yourself. You have to be aware of how you get, code, decode, and deliver a message. And having in your mind that each of us communicates in a way that we understand, you'll be able to get something very important for your life. Most of the times that you found in yourself, that you had an argument with someone, it was because you communicated in a way that the other couldn't understand you. Not because they were stupid. No, they couldn't because you did that in a way that they couldn't understand you. That doesn't mean that you were fault. No, it was your way, it was their way. Fine, yeah. But now being here, you have to train yourself to communicate in a different ways in order to adjust your communication style to communicate with others. And the third step is to be able to understand all the other brains in order to deliver your message in a way that the others can understand. So you have to go through those 3 steps. Number 1, to learn how the brain works. 2, to learn how your brain works, how you understand a message, how you deliver a message, and then to understand how the others understand a message. The power of communication can change the game. A few years back, I coached a woman, incredible woman. She worked in one of the biggest organizations in Greece. And she told me that her son doesn't love her. And when she started talking to me, she started tear up. It was a very emotional moment. And I asked her, why do you think that? I did everything for him. And a few days before, he told me that, Mother, you don't love me. I don't love you too. And it was, okay, please, the next time that you talk with your son, ask him something. One question. What? She was very, wow, okay. What do you mean? Do you say to me that one question can change the game? Yes, of course. Ask him, how would you know that I really love you? And stop trying to prove him that you love him for many reasons. She did that. She was very coachable. And the next time, she came to me and said to me, miracle! Oh, really? Please tell me. You know what? What? I sat down with my son. He told me the same. I just made him this question. How would you know that I really love you? And he replied to me, actually, he freezed. He did something like that and he told me nothing. Mother, I love you too. Every time that I remember this conversation, it's very for me. That's the power to communicate effectively. There is a slogan, no pain, no gain. Sometimes yes. But sometimes you can get everything without pain. You can get gain without pain if you use the right way to do the things. It's time to take action because your life, what experience right now, is the result of what you thought, felt, behaved 6 months back. If you calculate your results at that stage of your life, all the results are the results of what you did 6 months back. So my question to you is, what do you want to get in 6 months from now? If you want to transform your life, if you want to get something entirely different, then download your free cheat sheet to learn how to communicate effectively and most importantly, to get the whole formula, the 9 steps formula. And you know what? Don't forget to stand in front of the mirror and look yourself and remember yourself that you have to live in full excellence, because this is what life's about. This is your coach, Manos.